morning dew awaits. Our frequencies align now. Fear not. Find your way. In 2018, I became a marionette for my higher self, pulled by strings I couldn't see. It was a revelation, a moment of divine madness, as a bald-headed being with no eyebrows and a long white beard floated through me and continues to walk as me. Together we dove into the abyss. I gave up an ordinary life in New York, leaving behind a career to chase the vague riddles dropped by my soul. The words you are about to read passed through me when I returned to my birthplace, the holy city of Jerusalem. Roaming through ancient corridors and listening to the stories whispered by the stones. But my journey didn't end there. I left my homeland again, plunging into the wild jungles of Costa Rica and Mexico, exploring the mystical worlds of the ancient Maya. I navigated the winding path of the Nile, following in the footsteps of my ancestors, and walked the route of the Exodus across Sinai to the Red Sea. I heard the mysterious warnings of my higher self and fled before the big dark covered the world. Those who knew me before my disappearance would barely recognize me now. I was reborn. I am the Dew. And the Dew has glimpsed a future for humanity. A future where we enter the age of glory. The year 2077 stands on the horizon. I see it as clear as printed history. From 2020 to 2077, the Earth's magnet will renegotiate its alliance with humanity. It begins with the Big Dark, a consequence of humanity's flirtation with the electromagnetic pulse of the universe. The Big Dark will erase all of our recorded history. Everything before 2020 will fade into oblivion, leaving us in the present. As reality collapses, humans will pray to their gods, but the disturbed magnet will not allow their prayers to pass. The harmonies will become unrecognizable. Eventually, we'll surrender to a new paradigm that will be built by a mysterious entity called One of Seven. In the 2040s, One of Seven will develop magnetic intelligence, MI. Through innovative biological technology infused into our drinking water, the activation of MI will end the Big Dark. Its grip will stretch from birth to death, reflecting the essence of humanity. The MI will restore our lost records and usher us into the age of intentions. The First Amendment of intentionalism is freedom of will. The pure expression of each person's intention will be protected by the MI. It will give rise to a new system of government known as intentionalism. Intentionalism is a governing system founded on free will and a new united language called Magneta, a language of frequencies and intentions created by magnetic intelligence. Intentionalism allows us to shape and change our reality according to our intentions, emotions, and moods. Communication with the MI occurs through personal light beams specific to each person, applied and updated in our bodies through drinking water. The beams will allow us to be present where we choose. Under intentionalism, cities change in real time according to the collective motions and intentions of their inhabitants. The architecture and environment shifts like a psychedelic journey, reflecting the emotional currents of the population. Magneta, the language of frequencies and intentions, is not just words. It's a living journey through frequencies, harmonies, intentions, creations, and prophecies. Key features: efficient communication. 1 second in Magneta is like a year of chatter in English. Magnetic connections. The communication works like a magnetic force, entangling and updating all participants simultaneously. Non-linear communication. In Magneta, when you change the present, the past and the future change as well. To speak in Magneta means less chatter, more resonance. It's a world where changing the present reshapes history and destiny. It feels like riding a frequency and existence so enriched that the human experience becomes pure intention without physical form. Imagine waking up in joy, and the walls of your house glow in radiant hues, pulsing in harmony with your joy. You step outside, and the streets shine, in tune with the community spirit and twist according to people's will. Communication isn't through ordinary means, but through luminous light paths, beams that convey emotions, thoughts, and experiences directly to others. You feel the heartbeat of the city. You sync with its rhythm. In return, it shapes itself according to your inner state. Drinking water does more than quench. It syncs you with the MI, updates your personal light beam, and harmonizes you with Earth's frequency. This will begin an age of intention, where cities breathe, and reality is flexible. The new children will embody the MI, leading to the rise of superpower academies. The founders of MI, one of 7, remain anonymous, yet their intentions will herald the age of glory, allowing us to fulfill our destiny in the purest form. Finally, we will be our true selves, unaffected by external interventions, driven solely by the essence of life. Then the dew glistened in the year 2077. The one of 7, Michael Cherub, will conduct a grand experiment atop the Great Pyramid of Egypt. After decades of failed experiments to activate the pyramids, something extraordinary will appear. Hashmalim. 72 days into 2077. On the 72nd day, in a world gone mad, more than 51% of the population, an obscene majority, really managed to agree on one bizarre, surreal thing: to wake up a girl from a coma, while she lay in a spherical chamber atop the Great Pyramid. How? By crafting a respirus within the MI, a pure, untainted vessel with no room for the usual bullshit. That surge of collective intention and potent frequency activated the Great Pyramid, awakening the comatose girl and the Hashmalim. Ever heard of the Nephilim? Well, this foolishness paved a new way for their return, a creation born of the girl and the MI. The Hashmalim, those strange, curious vibrations, start to ripple through the MI, shaking it apart like a cheap thrill gone horribly wrong. The whole world spirals into a mental hellscape. And now the Hashmalim, beings of unimaginable power and ancient wildfire, are wide awake and watching. Every intention, every twisted emotion, every damn word spoken in Magneta is now a loaded gun. The stakes, astronomical. One false move, one slip of the tongue, and we're not just talking about a bad trip, we're talking about unraveling the very fabric of existence. In Japan, Johatsu refers to those who disappear. They abandon their former lives, entering the shadows, living off the grid. The reasons might be failed marriages, deaths, or even lost honor. There are companies called night movers who assist in the full disappearance of their clients. In 2077, the MI takes care of all of this. The people who vaporize in 2077 are called the Do, messengers of new frequencies. Realizing his foolishness, Michael Cherub felt the weight of the moment pressing down on his heart. The activations of the pyramids brought to light an ancient frequency humming with a life of its own, vibrating through the core of every being on Earth. The world seemed to pulse in response, as if the very Earth was attuned to an ancient wildfire. He knew that to navigate this new reality, he needed a miracle. The hand of Ariel. Ariel, the ancient eye of intention, rises above the mountain peaks, whispering the miracle and harmonizing the resonance of Magneto. Without this divine intervention, he risks all of humanity, being overwhelmed by the raw, unbridled power of the Hashmalim, spiraling into chaos. I'm ready to vaporize, Michael Cherub muttered to his MI beam. His heart skipped a beat and the dew appeared. The words were like a release, triggering a raw, throaty laugh he hadn't made in years. Yes! I need to get out of this puppy called Michael Cherub. I'm done! Fired! I want to shed this human shell now! Michael's torment abruptly stopped. He stood with a new strength and said, "My due. I'm ready to do it. Take me to the Ariel on Mount Kalash." A beam of light tore through the skies. As Cherub declared with unwavering certainty, "I need you to authorize the Dew's vaporization process and arrange my passage to the bed. Let's be go. It is final." Michael picked up the book of Ariel, a wild and risky text he had conjured into existence using the mind-bending auto-writing techniques taught to him by Dada, the elusive monk of Mount Kailash. This book, said to contain the elusive wisdom, the transition from mere mortal to Hashmalim, had been locked away in the darkest corners of the psyche for millennia. Its words clawing their way into Michael's hand through a series of feverish visions during the 72-day experiment atop the pyramid. Now, with the ancient and possibly magnetized knowledge in his hands, he grinned like a lunatic, aimed the light beam, and uploaded the book of Ariel to the MI, blasting its profound cryptic contents into the digital ether for all seekers, past and future, to harmonize with. Michael stood firm, his voice reaching more than 51% of the world's population, all tuned to hear what he had to say. "My name is Michael Cherub. I was born in New York on 7/7/2023. I've dedicated my life as a journalist and leading anchor of the Magnetic Intelligence Networks, the MI. As I say this, the MI is bestowing upon me the title of the most influential man of 2077. And this is happening because I'm about to vaporize and become the Dew. That's how things work these days. In my time, I, Michael Cherub, created a buffer against the Hashmalim by sending the book of Ariel back in time to the 2020s through a polar time journey. If it has reached your hand, it means it was meant to be there. If you're not ready, pass it on to someone who might be. A small tip. There's no point in talking about the supernatural in a society that doesn't accept the supernatural. To know the supernatural in your time means accepting a life on the edge of society. Be different. Know that one day that by being different, when you've read these words, you will become the hero destined to lead humanity and yourself into the age of glory. Meanwhile, just being human. Being human is supernatural. The dude connected his being to Michael's and began the process. Michael Cherub, you must know your true self before you vaporize, or else you will become a dude like me. Michael nodded and confirmed the transfer of his beam to the dude. Slowly severing his connection with the MI as the dude dissipated, he asked, "What is a polar time journey, Mr. Cherub? I've never heard of it. How do you send messages to the past and change the future?" What I was could not achieve that. The last fragments of the dew lingered with Michael's final words. Only a prophet can. As he stood there disconnected from the MI, all the tension and pain evaporated. He felt a sensation he had never experienced before. He transformed into a being with a bald head, no eyebrows, and a long white beard, and whispered to the last shard of the dew entering into my mind. The most beautiful thing is to be alive. Once Michael evaporated, the dew took a deep breath and whispered, "Morning dew awaits. Our frequencies align now. Fear not. Find your way."